welcome to the Wednesday edition of Box Seat. I'm Adam McGrath and we're taking a look at the 7 races at Ascot. Of course, on the weekend we saw Delicacy just prove how good she is with an amazing win in the Group 2 Perth Cup over the 2,400 metres, and I know that everybody that came out really enjoyed their race day, and I'm looking forward to taking a look at these 7 races as well. Let's take a look at the conditions that we will be faced with. The rail is out 15 metres with a cutaway in the straight. We're expecting some hot weather again in Perth with some possible thunderstorms as well, and we'll be running on a good 3, so a good day for racing as well if those thunderstorms hold off. Taking a look at race number 1, it is over the 1,000 metres. It's the Amelia Park Handicap, and some horses in some pretty good form coming into this race. I speak of Puck Shapeshifter, also War of Whispers, and Production's been knocking on the door as well. The replay that we are going to take a look at is War of Whispers, managed to win at Pinjarra last start down the straight, and we'll take a look at that victory now.
Raced up with Brazanto. It's Brazanto with Confirmation together. War of Whispers gets up on the inside, and then came Pure Dure. Brazanto, Confirmation, War of Whispers near the inside, then Habanera. War of Whispers, Confirmation and Brazanto. War of Whispers in front of Confirmation. War of Whispers beat Confirmation.
Really good performance there by War of Whispers. Had been improving with each run. Of course, we saw a very nice trial from the galloper back in November, and then was just a little bit disappointing at Narrogin, but the last 2 runs have been good. The filly now has to carry 57 kilos, but is drawn nicely in barrier 5, and the David Harrison stable is ticking along nicely at the moment with plenty of winners at each race day. Some of the other major threats are in the race card. Number 1, Puck Shapeshifter, as I mentioned, in really good form for Peter and Matt Giadresco. William Pite takes the ride. The only concern here has to be the weight, stepping up to the 59 kilos, but drawn nicely in barrier 3. And from what we saw last start, to those form lines around Scales of Justice should certainly hold up. Has to carry 4 kilos more, but does drop the 100 metres as well. So you'd expect this horse to go forward and be very hard to get past late on in the stages. Bush Track was a good run behind Iconium at Narrogin last up. The only concern there'd be that Iconium struggled at Pinjarra on the weekend. Extreme Dreams finished second on debut as well behind Little Punga. Barrier 8, this horse will try across and get into a nice position as well and has claims. And then the bottom 2 as well. Production has been racing well, as I mentioned. Form lines behind Delica Miss and Kentucky Lass. That's Saturday form, and I Do Declare as well. It was held up last start from barrier 2. Should get a nice run. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how number 8 Time Stream returns. The Winkers go on here. It's only had the 1 race, and it was finished 2.5 lengths behind Le Patron, which shows some nice form lines as well. It was a bit slow away that day. The recent trial was nice, winning by 1.5 lengths, and I think this 3-year-old filly is in for a nice campaign as well. It is a tough race to separate our top 4, but I am going to tip number 1 Puck Shapeshifter on top, from number 5 War of Whispers, number 8 Time Stream, and number 7 Production. Race number 2 at Ascot. It is the Perth Racing Twitter Handicap over the 1,600 metres. A couple of these gallopers raced against each other last starts, and a few drawn much handier this start. I speak of the likes of Muscus at Dawn, which jumped from barrier 11 last time, drawn in barrier 5 this time, so should be able to go forward. Also Crown Choice at jumping from a nice gate in barrier 1, and Happy with Kendall from barrier 3. They are some of the major threats in the race. But the replay that we are going to take a look at, North Pace returned for the Fred Kersey stable. There's some big money for this galloper on track. 71 into 21, ran strongly into second on that occasion, finishing behind Drooper, and we'll take a look at that run now.
Charm Destiny, Warning Sky battling this one down at the top of the home straight excellently, and the rider also of Classy Twisters come to grief at the 200. Brandy Blitz headed by Starkle. Drooper coming down the outside with his run. North Pace is there as well. It's Starkle, but Drooper's got them. Drooper the outside, North Pace, but Drooper draws away. Drooper beat North Pace. Photo.
It's a really good performance there by North Pace, running on strongly as I mentioned, drawn nicely in barrier 4, and just the 51 kilos again, so certainly can't rule out this galloper from the Fred Kersey stable with what we saw there, because those Drooper form lines have been holding up in recent times as well. Some of the other major contenders in this race, as I mentioned, Muscus at Dawn, drawn much handier. The form lines are good here behind Wicked Hunter and also Reflectance, which came out and won again at Pinjarra on Sunday. Drawn nicely in barrier 5 with the 58 kilos. The only concern is hasn't won for 482 days. He's had 8 races at the track and placed on 6 occasions, but still yet to win at Ascot. So they'll be hoping that Muscats at Dawn can certainly break that trend on Wednesday. Crown Choice has been racing well. Form lines behind Antique Dreams and Stocks, of course. Antique Dreams won on the weekend again as well. So from barrier 1, it should get a nice run. Moment of Love has been racing well as well from the Neville Parnham stable. It was beaten by Muscats at Dawn last up behind Reflectance, but did attack the line strongly. So stepping up from 14 to 16 should also suit. And I think Crystal Gardens is the other galloper that we really have to take note of as well. Beaten 3 lengths by Rodeo Drive, but with no luck at all last start. William Pite takes the ride with the 56.5 kilos, should certainly be in the mix as well. Let's take a look at the selections. I'm going to tip Muskets of Dawn to break that drought from number 5, Crystal Gardens, number 3, Moment of Love, and number 2, Crown Choice. Race number 3 at Ascot, it is Perth. Race number 9 for our Singapore viewers. It is a maiden over the 1400 metres. There's some very interesting form lines that are coming into this race as well from all around the racing in Perth, including the provincial races. And one that we are going to take a look at, and it is the replay horse as well. It is number 6, Peggy Sue. A really good run on debut, just finishing a short head behind Rocket Queen, and those form lines have been quite strong as well. This horse really attacked the line strongly over the 1200 metres, so the 14 does look the logical step up. We'll take a look at the closing stages of that performance now.
Along the rail next, followed further back Peggy Sue, Hidden Grace. He's nursing the leader, My Greek Boy, at the 200, led the way from War God. Rocket Queen, though, is getting home brilliantly along the rail. It's Rocket Queen coming at My Greek Boy. Down the outside is Hidden Grace and Peggy Sue as well. Rocket Queen against the inside from Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue, Rocket Queen went to the line.
Really good performance there by Peggy Sue for trainer Brent Albueno. Chris Parnham keeps the ride. Barrier 7, you'd be able to expect this galloper to get into a nice position. And as I mentioned, that 12 to 1400 metre step up does look very good. Some of the other horses to take note of. What did you do? Last start at Northam was only beaten 1.5 lengths after having no luck and racing wide. It was withdrawn from the next starter when it was in the market as well. So that galloper, Barrier 3, Brad Parnham taking the ride, certainly has to be in the mix as well. I think Rosewood Hill is certainly a galloper that we have to take note of. It lost 2 lengths at the start. Was still beaten 5 lengths by the leader last start at Bunbury, but this horse wants further distance. The 1400 metres looks ideal. I think the galloper can certainly improve. If it is close enough, I think he can strike and win this race at each way price. Mixed Messages has been an interesting galloper as well. Jumped as a $101 chance on debut and finished 4th on that occasion. Then it's the form lines behind Fremond and Awesome as well, but just hasn't been able to win. Drawn tricky in Barrier 1. And Sharukan Stars, another galloper I'm intrigued in this race. Drawn wide, which doesn't help. Barrier 13 for Fred Kersey. Sean McGrady keeps the ride. Last start, just beaten 2.5 lengths by Rees Rocket. And of course, we saw Rees Rocket racing against Vega Magic and Scars of Justice on Saturday. Those form lines should hold up. If Sharukan Star can get into a nice position from Barrier 13, I think this filly can have the class to certainly run a race and finish in your top 4 as well. We'll take a look at the selections. I'm going to tip number 8, Rosewood Hill, as an each way chance. From number 6, Peggy Sue. Number 12, Sharukan Star. And number 1, What Did You Do? Race number 4 at Ascot, it is Perth. Race number 10 for our Singapore viewers. It's over the 2200 metres. The 10 runners to take a look at here, and a lot of these gallopers have been racing in weak races in recent times for these distance races, so it'll be interesting to see how they go against the likes of a Boutique and a Gracie May, which we've seen race consistently in these midweek races here at Ascot as well. The replay that we are going to take a look at is another horse that raced at Ascot last start, and that is Royal Supreme. Came up against an informed Who Dat Singer, which beat it by 5 lengths. It still finished second, Royal Supreme, on that occasion. Steps up in distance here, but we'll take a look at how this galloper attacked the line.
And kicks away from him. Who Dat Singer put 1.5 lengths on Fremont. A further 3, Indigo Aurora, Royal Supreme, juicing carrots in this life, but Who Dat Singer's off and gone, and with 100 left to go, it's all over, bar the shouting. Who Dat Singer drawing right away. He's opening up and he wins it by 4.5 lengths. Royal Supreme claims second.
As you can see from that performance, it was Who Dat Singer who just dominated the race, but Royal Supreme did attack the line strongly over the 1800 metres, so the extra 400 metres should suit here. And also the claim to Clint Johnston Porter, who's been riding very well. We saw him in the Cerise and White in the 2200 metre event on Saturday, win with Dark Alert as well, so they'll be hoping for the same here. Outside of that, there are only a couple of chances in this race, I feel. Miss Yolana backing up from racing at Pinjarra on Sunday. Finished 4th on that occasion after doing a lot of the bullocking work. William Piker rode on that occasion. Randy Tan takes the ride, so just the 56 kilos here. Boutique, the form lines are very strong. Was beaten under a length by Cripe Regal 3 starts ago, which won that race that Miss Yolana was in on Sunday at Pinjarra. 2 starts ago, beaten 2.5 lengths by Don't Get Caught, which finished second on Saturday as well, and then beaten 2 lengths by Battle King. So from Barrier 5, I really expect Boutique to put in a nice race. Gracie May comes out of those similar races as well. Hasn't won for 350 days, which is a small concern, but this horse has been knocking on the door. She'll get a nice run from Barrier 6. And I also think number 6, Capo d'Oro, is a horse that we need to take note again from the Fred Kersey stable. Jerry Noski keeps the ride here. Last start, just beaten 2 lengths by Royal Attraction, but worked home strongly. I think the step up from 16 to 2200 metres will suit this galloper as well and can be one that you put in your top 4. Let's take a look at those selections. I am going to tip number 2, Royal Supreme, from number 3, Boutique, number 4, Gracie May, and number 6, Capo d'Oro.